Have you ever watched a video from an influencer, a content creator, or a successful business owner describing their path to success? Let me tell you why those videos might not be as accurate as you think. In 1943, at the height of World War II, the Allied forces were struggling with their aircraft. A lot of them were being brought down by enemy fire. Military planners at the time wanted to make the aircraft stronger, and so they decided to put armor on the planes. However, armor is very heavy. Due to this, they had to decide what areas of the plane they should put armor on. Too much armor makes aircraft slower, use more fuel, and not able to carry as much payload as they normally would. Therefore, the military planners had to decide where on the aircraft they would put their armor. The planes that returned from combat were analyzed, and damage was mapped across planes to show the areas where planes got hit the most. Imagine for a moment you're one of these military planners. If you were to see this, where would you put the armor? Well, the purpose of the armor is to protect the plane from bullets. So the obvious thought is to put the limited armor you have in the places the plane gets hit the most. But that's not actually what happened. Abraham Wald, a statistician and mathematician working with the Statistical Research Group at Columbia University, noticed something crucial. The planes that were being studied for bullet damage were the ones that returned, meaning the areas that those planes got hit are the areas the planes could get hit in and still return home. All of the planes that got hit in vital places and got brought down were the ones that never returned home and therefore never got analyzed. Wald realized this fact and recommended to the military planners that they put armor in the spots where the bullet holes weren't, because those spots were more likely to be the places more vital to the aircraft staying in the air and eventually returning back to base. This idea that some of the information that we see is only part of a larger picture is called survivorship bias. But how does this relate to us in the modern world? Perhaps you've seen videos from your favorite influencers or content creators saying how they made it big, what their posting schedule was like, what their work ethic and what their hours were like, and what content strategy they used to make it. But what about all of the people who do the exact same stuff, but don't make it? Only about 5% of active channels are monetized, and less than 1% of those channels earn enough to be a full-time income for those creators. That means that there are hundreds of channels that don't make it big for every one channel that does. How many of those channels tried those exact same steps that your favorite content creators did and didn't make it? One example I see a lot is entrepreneurs telling their success story, how they made it big, how they woke up at 4 a.m. every morning and put in long hours in order to make it where they are today. But how many entrepreneurs tried those exact same things or things very similar to those steps, but didn't make it? Imagine a doctor analyzing the success of a new treatment by talking to the people it worked for about what didn't work for them or what they struggled with that treatment. Or imagine a school teacher developing a curriculum based off of what successful students struggled with, rather than talking to the students who don't perform as well on average. It would be a disaster. Survivorship bias reminds us that the evidence that we see is often the evidence that survived, rather than the full picture. So the next time you think about someone who's succeeded, whether it's an influencer, a content creator, an entrepreneur, or someone else you consider a success in the field that you're interested in, don't draw conclusions only based on what you see from them. Think about what you're missing. Think about all of the people who have done similar things but haven't made it. Survivorship bias reminds us that the evidence we see is often the evidence that survived, not the whole picture. So the next time you think about someone who you consider a success, whether it's a business owner, a content creator, or an influencer, don't draw conclusions just on what you see from them. Think about what information is missing, go looking for it, and draw conclusions then. If you enjoyed this video, comment down below the best example of survivorship bias that you've seen in daily life. I'll pin the comment that I like the most, and then in the next video, I'll talk about the top comments or the ones that were most interesting. Also, if you have questions or want clarification for anything that I said, please comment down below and I'll respond to it. I want to make sure that my content is as clear as possible and that you guys are learning something valuable. And thank you for taking time to learn today.